the heart of our culture is farming, and the pioneers who settled this whole country, they went through all sorts of hardships. That lives on today in the struggle in agriculture. And, you work on your own most of the time as a farmer, and you're kind of making a go of it, trying to deal with some big debt and trying to make sure things go. You're subject to the weather and all sorts of factors that you don't have control over. It's just a good example or comparison to what people are going through right now, right? With this whole pandemic thing, people are dealing with stuff that they don't have control over. And so isn't this a good time to really kind of tap into people who have been doing that for a while and understand how to get through that kind of stuff? And one thing in my conversations with Dean in the past is he's mentioned going for coffee. It dawned on me that this is a very important mechanism. It's a place where people who work on your own most of the time maybe get to touch base with some others and connect a little bit. So that's what we wanted to ask you about.
Well, it gets me off the farm. Like you said, it could be a very isolated place and very easy to get trapped into a routine. I mean, the internet is great, but I'm kind of a visual, talkative person. The example, and I've thought about it, is when you come in, you say good morning. They notice right away that something wrong. Well, you had a bad day, you had a flat tire, or a cow died, or things that you talked about on the farm, the financial part. And then we discuss, and then you discuss, and it shouldn't be this way, but the next guy, well, you had one animal die. Well, he had a flat tire and a dead animal. Well, you're not sitting at home saying, am I the only one that has a dead animal or a broken wash machine or a flat tire on my car, or I need to get tires, I need to find money for the tires. It's a situation where we can talk, and we have young and old guys say, oh, we all been there. We didn't think we were ever going to make it. We're not going to say it's going to be easy, but if you work through it, you will. And if you need help, all the coffee guys, if you need help, needling cows because they're dying, they're all there. It's a mental support group and a sounding board, and you don't feel alone, because 9 times out of 10, the people are there. They could be farming, it could be raising a family. You get a comment, your kids are very, very well mannered. How do you do it? So you relate how you got to the point where you raised your kids and they got mannered, and the rules and the regulations, and it's the weather, it's the highway report, it's the grandpas going to the hockey rink, watching their kids, getting a report, which kids did very well, which kids should have stayed home, honesty. We have our differences. We may go away mad, but it seems like we all come back the next day and start over again. So it's a very, very good sounding board, and you can read, well, Zoom is a lot better. You could read people's actions and truly know what they mean because you're looking at them across the table. So
there's something about the physical connection to things, like Zoom, even as good as it is, and we can see each other across the country here, this is pretty good. But yeah, what is that? There's just something magical about that in-person thing.
You have to learn to read people, and I think we're kind of losing that. We may be gaining that back with Zoom a little bit and stuff, but there's nothing like the personal contact. And you know what? Coffee usually lasts 45 minutes. If we get into a good debate, it could go an hour and a half, or 2 guys will wait around to discuss matters, family matters, or even marriage matters, how to get through it, how to juggle 3 kids in hockey and teaching and farming and everything else. And just, so it's quite a collective group, but we know how to read each other, and the other guy wants to talk a little longer. So you kind of wait till the guys filter away, and then you do your talking. And it doesn't have to be the coffee shop. It could be a paint shop or a painting working shop or karate, or my kids are all growing up and everything else. And I had lots of contact when you were at the rink, taking the kids, tying their skates, everything else. So the coffee become more important because I lost some of that off of my social part. If you start the conversation or open the idea, they're very grateful to say, well, I thought I was the only one in that situation. That I just want to give back. And like I said, if I can help one or two people in my lifetime, I'd like to touch more, but start with one or two and say, Dean helped me through at the coffee time or at the rink or anything.
Do you find, Dean, that now with the whole COVID thing, assuming that it's harder to go for coffee and do those things, are you finding this a difficult time?
Yes, I have. I kind of jokingly yesterday, which is the end of the month. So bills came. I jokingly said I never got excited to get bills before, but I got some bills yesterday that I got to go. I could have mailed them, but I went. That was the reason I went to pay the bill. And I told a couple of the guys I felt like my ancestors 80 years ago, and I don't know whether you heard your grandparents are talking or your mom talking, that they got to go to town once a month. That's the way I felt, and got dressed up, right? I mean, we're kind of getting a little lazy that our appearance, when I go for coffee, I put my better clothes on and go, well, I haven't done that in a while. So we lose the appearance and that, and got excited to pay the bills. And I told the guys that, hey, I was excited to come pay a bill because I got to come talk to you guys and go to town. The only difference was I didn't get a bag of candy. So yes, it makes a difference. My world has got smaller with everybody else, and you can get stale. I've got stale before that in a rut, and it's not good for myself or my family or the people around you. So
I agree with you. That whole thing, like, man, I can have my pajamas on for most of our things, and actually today I made a point. I brushed my hair today.
Yeah,
just for you guys.
I ain't got my chair, so I didn't have to brush it.
How do you get through that time by yourself, like long periods of time where you're just you and the machine and the field and stuff like that? So do you find that challenging, or what do you like about that time?
There was a period of time that I didn't. I wasn't happy. I couldn't get up in the morning and get motivated and everything else. And I hated it. It wasn't fun no more. Last 10 years, I've got to be my own man, and farming became fun again. So it's downsized, for one thing, doing a better job, growing more grain, doing a better job on the cattle and everything else. So when I wake up in the morning, and I've always told my kids, as long as you're 75% happy what you're doing, keep doing it. But if you get down to 60 or 50%, don't do it. There's days that I don't want to be there, but I'm 75 to 80% happy because you can plan on, you got the chores to do, you got the grain to move, you got to market grain. That keeps your mind occupied and everything else and stuff. And it's what you're going to do an hour from now, what you're going to do at the end of the day. So that's how I keep my mind preoccupied. I'm wondering what my kids are doing. I like fishing, so every once in a while, I think I'm going to catch me a big fish.
Is there times when you want to be alone, or feel you need to be alone? Yeah.
I'm not that type of guy. My wife always says I light up when my kids come home because and yeah, I've always been with somebody all my life. Like I said, I've never left the farm, so I've always had my parents day in and day out. Yeah, no, I need to be with people probably 95% of the time, and that's probably why I go for coffee. I can probably go a day without persons, then I kind of get antsy and need somebody to talk to because I'm not much of a book person. 20 years ago, you can work yourself to death. I could go outside and work the shop, But I've done them days. I don't want to do them days no more. I want to spend time with my family and everything else. So no, I need the social part of my life to keep my brain sane. Everybody ribs me, and it's cost money for gas and cost money for coffee, but it's an hour in my day that I think I deserve, that I want to go and do.
Looking after yourself, absolutely important.
Yes.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much. That's great.
All right. Hopefully I helped a little bit, but
I think you did. A lot more than you think.
I hope so.